Hi, guys. Hope everything's going good. I'm excited about MGC coming up here. But this last week, we had a Nintendo Direct, and some of the games were kind of lackluster. A couple of them I'm excited about. I think we got more yet to come this week. But there was something in last week's announcement that solved a problem that I had with my Switches at home. But I think it's going to create a problem in the future. Can we avoid this? Let's talk about it. Since there's no E3 anymore, most of these companies do announcements on their own, and I love that Nintendo does the Nintendo Direct. This is awesome. What I don't love about it, these are during the day when I'm working. I can't watch these live. I can't leave the production floor to spend half an hour watching this. If you guys have half an hour and you want to watch all these games in their trailers in their entirety, go to the Nintendo of America's YouTube page and watch them. There are some fun trailers for some of these games that you can watch on there, and I'm just going to give you the titles here and break them down, and I'm going to drop a number in the corner of how many games that they're announcing. So right now we're on 5, now we're on 6. I will just keep dropping that in the corner so you kind of get an idea of how many games that they announced in the Nintendo Switch end of life cycle year. And I say that, but knowing that I'm going to keep collecting for the Nintendo Switch is probably a reality that these games will play on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I will continue to collect Switch games, whether they were Switch 2 or Switch 1 games in the near future. And most of these games that are getting announced in the Direct here are ones that I'm not going to purchase, or ones that I'm just not really interested in. And that's fine. People are going to play the games that interest them and that attract them to play. And I am totally good with that, but there are a few great ones, like the one on the screen right now. Gradius is a classic, and I will be getting this, and I hope to God that they get a physical copy of those games. And my gut feeling just tells me that these games are going to be digital downloads. And there are some of the big titles like Metroid 4. That's definitely going to be in the stores. People are going to be buying that in cartridge format. But when we end this video and we talk about one of the announcements that I think is going to affect the future of gaming, and I get on that topic, you're going to kind of understand why I'm thinking this. And Pokemon is definitely going to be a physical copy. How could they not make that a physical copy game? But games like Rhythm Heaven Groove, the Dance Dance games, things that are music based and rhythm based, those games are typically digital downloads because they can typically lose their licensing for their music. And some of these games you might not be interested in. They're not your cup of tea. But I can remember when Crackdown came out. The only reason we bought Crackdown was it had a version of a Halo 3 multiplayer tied to the game. So that was the only way you could get in early to play Halo 3 multiplayer, was to buy Crackdown. So we bought Crackdown to give that multiplayer a shot, and that's all we did. All we did was play Halo 3, and we didn't even touch Crackdown. And one day we decided that we couldn't afford any other new games, that we'd break this Crackdown out and actually put it in and give it a test try. And we loved the game. Wasn't the greatest game in the world, but it was a blast. We actually completed that game entirely, and then we went to see if we can get all the orbs and everything. So when you're trying new games out, you never really know if they're going to be your cup of tea or not. And especially when you're limited cash as a young, person, that back then it was, we're dropping $50 per game. Now it's, pretty close to $70 per game. And you just don't know if you want to spend that money on a real stinker game. And as an older collector now, I buy a lot of games, and there's a lot of games that it's like, why in the heck did I buy this game? This game really sucks bad. And that really makes like Xbox's Game Pass really appealing to people that can download and try these games and pay a monthly fee. But it also opens you up to not collecting these games and not really owning a physical copy of these games. And collecting for the Nintendo Switch has been so fun. I have never bought as many games for a console as I have for the Nintendo Switch. And the cartridges was a great appeal to me to keep on collecting those games. And hopefully time will tell that these games will last that long. And their last announcement that they had was basically an app that you can actually download and get Nintendo news. And I downloaded it right away, and this is going to be a great tool. And this part of the announcement was actually in the middle of the direct, and I just wanted to share a little bit at the end of the video because this is what I really wanted to focus on. One of my main gripes with the Nintendo Switch was I have multiple units. I have an OLED, I have a regular one that I bought day one, and I have a Lite. And your primary account is going to hold all your digital downloads. It isn't your other ones. So you actually have to play them on your primary account. Otherwise, you're going to have an internet connection to play those games. And Nintendo has just announced that they're going to have virtual memory cards. These are memory cards that you can share between the consoles that you own or the consoles that you share with family members. You won't be able to share this with other people other than the people that are in your family sharing plan, but you have to pay for that service online. So I purchased a digital game that I wanted to play, and my primary account was on my original and not on my OLED. And when I went traveling one time and I took my OLED because it's bright and beautiful, and I went to play the game that I wanted to play, and I could not play that digital game because it was tied to my primary account, and I did not have an internet connection to verify that that was me. So I was unable to play that game at the time. So these virtual memory cards are going to come in handy for anything that I buy digital and want to transfer between one console to another console, or if I want to loan them out to somebody that's on my family sharing plan. But if I want to loan a digital game to someone that is not in my family sharing plan, that is not going to be possible. And there's such value to owning a physical copy of a game. And if you listen to everybody that talks about this is the future of gaming. We're going all digital, and they're trying to make this a lot easier for people, but it's ultimately going to take ownership away from us. And I'm a collector, so I love to own my games. I love getting my hands on older physical copies of games and being able to play them. And that isn't always going to be a reality to people. So Nintendo's made this convenient for us, but it also has made us a frog in the kettle. And on the other side of the coin, I do believe that there are times that digital games make sense to me. Some of the games that we see, we would never, ever be able to see without having a digital platform that we could buy them on. April 2nd will be here before we know it, and we'll get a full reveal of the Switch 2, and information will start coming out. And I just hope it'll be 100% backwards compatible with the cartridges. Hey, what are your guys' feelings on it? Sometimes I just feel like I become that get off my lawn guy, and I don't want to be that guy. But on the other hand, I really want to own the games that I purchase. I don't want them to disappear over time when a service closes down. I am really interested in what you guys got to say. Comment down below. Tell me your opinions on digital downloads. Have you been burnt on a game recently that you bought physically somewhere and found out it was a digital download or the game wasn't on the disc? There is a website called doesitplay.org that you can visit, and they will update them every now and then. They're not totally up to date all the time, but you can find those games listed, and if they're really on the disc or that memory card, they will tell you. It will tell you if it requires a download or not. But I'm not looking forward to an all digital future. I like to have my games. I like to own them. 10, 20 years from now, I would like to be able to put them in and play them. I don't want a worthless piece of plastic on my game shelf. I would like to retain ownership of that. I hope everything's good with you guys. I hope everything is fun. We're heading into convention season. I hope to see you all out at a convention. I will be at the Midwest Gaming Classic at the end of this week. If you see me I'm going to be carrying some stickers for channel stickers. Come up and say hi to me, and I will definitely give you a channel sticker if I still have any. Taking a bunch of them, so I'm going to guess I'm going to have a bunch of them. So stop by, say hi, and I hope you guys enjoy the convention season, and I hope you enjoy the games you're playing at home. Game on.